Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to the Black Diamond Call for Monday, January 29th, 2018. John Lavinia here with you, as I am each week. We're going to have a fun time tonight. We've got some people joining us who are actually one of which you've never heard from, one of which I've never heard from before. So I'm very interested, as I am each week, to hear what we say on this call because none of it's pre-planned or pre-scripted or premeditated. Everything's very street and off the cuff, so to speak. And so, I guess let me go right into my normal disclaimers. If you're new here, welcome. Okay, we're glad you're here. See how these ideas apply into your business and into your life. And these are ideas for use, not just for entertainment, as entertaining as I like to believe I am. Myself and my co-hosts, these are for use. We want you to get to the top. Hence the name of the call, the Black Diamond. So you're going to hear my opinion on stuff, my co-host's opinion on stuff. Take what you like and leave the rest. And if we say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. That's just how we roll on the Black Diamond Call. A couple quick announcements. Number one is I am getting on a plane in just a couple weeks to go to Whistler, British Columbia for our Apex event. It's going to be huge. And I think registrations are closed. I know I've announced it on the wake-up calls a few times that if you are an Apex ticket holder and you're intending to join us live at this particular Apex event, then you need to get that ticket registered. If you have any questions about that event or any event registration issues, you can contact events, that's plural with an S, events at digitalaltitude.co, events at digitalaltitude.co, and you will be in communication with, you guessed it, the events department. Also, we have our big marketing mastery event coming up end of March in sunny San Diego, California, and that's going to be huge. VIP tickets are already sold out, but you can still get early bird pricing on the Sherpa ticket, only $97, which is below cost. That's a gift from Michael to everybody. Go ahead and please accept that gift. Do not wait until a week before the event to register. It will sell out. Okay, so if you're hearing my voice now, go to digitalaltitude.co/MME, MME as in Marketing Mastery Event, and you will get all the details on that event. You can book group rates at the beautiful Skyscraper Hotel and once again, get early bird pricing on that ticket. And believe it or not, I already had somebody asking me how they can get a VIP ticket because it was sold out, which I announced. For those of you who are just brand new here, you never heard me announce this, but I announced it weeks ago. I said, now here's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to wait. And then they're going to say, oh, how do I get a VIP ticket? They're sold out. I'm going to say, well, you can't. So I've been saying that now already. It's almost like I had a crystal ball. So do not wait. Get that registration in. And I think those are all my announcements for tonight. Yes, it is. You know what? We're going to have a fun time tonight. I've got a couple people here with me who I'm excited to hear from. And we're going to talk about something that I think holds a lot of people back. You know, I'll speak for myself, right? There was a time in my life where I had a lot of reasons. You know, we either have results or we have reasons. Or I've heard it said another way, you know, some people make money, some people make excuses, nobody does both, right? So that's where we're kind of headed here tonight, right? Is exposing and eliminating excuses. And that's something that I had to do. I think we all had to do, right? Because think about it, when we're a child, you pretty much just, you know, cry and you get milk, right? I mean, that's it. Now, unfortunately, we've got a lot of, 40-year-old children walking around in suits. You know, we cry, we make excuses, we expect the world to do something for us. And, others have become a bit more, self-determined and responsible in that way. And these tend to be the people who get the results. Now, of course, two of the people who I'm talking about here who tend to get the results are my guest speakers for tonight. And I'm very excited to hear about where they go with this topic because, I can tell you that as long as we are making excuses, we are not making progress. In fact, I heard that from a bodybuilding friend of mine. He was a big muscle dude, and as you guys, some of you know, I've been lifting weights for a long time, and this guy said, the minute you start making excuses, you stop making progress, right? Oh, I can't get to the gym today because, hey, who cares what the because is? You lose. We don't care about the because. You either have reasons or you have results. So to help us with this, let me bring out one guy who we've heard from before who was dialing in from far away in a not even a very good connection, but really delivered the goods, and joined by his wife, Natasha, tonight. I am talking about John and Natasha Oakes. Welcome to the call, guys. How you doing?
Doing great. John, can you hear me?
I can. You are here. Where's Natasha?
Hi. Hi there.
There she is. I'm excited to have both of you. You know, this is very, very rare that we have a twofer for our guest speakers. So take it away, guys. We're talking about excuses tonight. I'm wondering, are you professional excuse makers, or are you here to help us with that?
We're here to help you with that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I need all the help I can get. I'll take it. Sign me up.
Right. So awesome. So one thing, I want to say, it's always an honor to come out here live in front of our Digital Altitude entrepreneurial community. So appreciate you having us out, John. One of the things I really like about this call is the way that you preface it and the statement that you made where you said, if I offend anybody, you'll get over it, right? Because tonight we're gonna be talking about some real talk. This is like adult stuff. So if you're somebody that gets offended easily, you'll really want to evaluate why you're being offended by it and so forth, and you will absolutely get over it. We're going to share some stuff with you guys that is purely from our own experience, right? So we're not sharing stuff with you that we're guessing or that we read in a book. This is like life stuff that we've gone through over the course of years and years and years. We've been married for 18 years already, right? And we've been entrepreneurs since before we were married. So, we've got a lot of history with running and starting and building businesses and failing over and over and over again and having these experiences. So we want to talk to you guys today about the excuses that keep you locked in mediocrity, locked in struggle, and often keep you broke, and how to really overcome those things. And it really starts by identifying and recognizing when you're dealing with excuses, right? What are those things that we call excuses that most people call the reasons why they can or cannot do something? And so they really kind of fall into 5 general categories. And if you have something to write on, you might want to take some notes on this stuff. The first type of excuse is time-related excuse. Number 2 is financial-related. Number 3 is physical-related excuses. Number 4 is skills-related excuses. And the 5th one is support or help-related excuses. Now I'm going to just kind of go through those, and we're going to talk about each of those 5 types of excuses and how to recognize them, how to overcome them, and the first one being time. So you want to start that one off, Tosh?
Time and me don't get along so well, John. You know this, right? And sometimes I have to talk to time and say, oh, please, I just need a little bit more here.
Absolutely true. I'm the one who's like the time Nazi, and I have to sometimes help her and keep her on track. But that's one of the cool things about working as a team with a spouse. Usually very often get opposite type of people, and so being able to figure out what one's strength is and help the other one with their weaknesses and so forth is very important. So, all right, I'll kick it off.
Okay, you do.
I like putting her on the spot.
Yeah.
So in this industry especially, right, and really this applies to anything, but we're kind of tailoring this specifically to online business, online success, because that's really the business that we're all in and why we're here. When it comes to the time-related excuses, we hear this all the time where people say, I'd really love to change my life. I'd really love to create something new financially. I'd really love to build a business. I just don't have time. I've got all these things going on in my life. I work a full-time job. I've got kids at home. I don't have time to build a business. And in most cases, when somebody makes that statement or they have that locked in their mind, they are immediately dismissing their ability to get past that. And the truth is, when you really drill down into it, in this business especially, but really in anything, you can actually do some amazing things with a very short amount of time as long as you're very clear on the reason why you're doing it. And so all of these things we talk about, all of these excuses, the core fundamental thing you have to have, in congruency is that you have to have a strong desire for doing what you're doing, right? And if you have that strong desire, you know why you're doing it, you visualize what you're going to get out of it. Once you've achieved what you're trying to achieve, then all of these things will start to click into place once you've identified these as excuses and start to get past them. So when it comes to the time thing, let me just say that this business in online marketing, especially with digital altitude, is something that can absolutely be done in less than 2 hours per day. And I really do mean less, because really it's more like an hour to maybe an hour and a half per day of actual money-generating activities to get the kind of results that you want over time if you're doing it consistently. And I don't care how many or how busy somebody is, if they have a strong desire to change their current circumstances, they can manage to carve out an extra hour to an hour and a half a day in their schedule.
But
right?
they have to be really cautious not to find themselves down other roads, like looking at Facebook and monitoring things like this that are not actually truly money-generating activities.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the time suck that the majority of people who get started in this industry fall into when they get started. And even those who might think they have the time initially start to, down the road, erode that that ability to believe that they have the time to do this, because they find themselves spending 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours sitting at their computer, scrolling through Facebook feeds, looking at different social media, getting distracted by every single shiny object that comes along that shows up in the sidebar of their Facebook, and clicking it and thinking maybe that's the magic answer to getting fast results. All of that stuff tends to pull people away and take too much time. And when you start spending too much time on your online business and not seeing an equivalent amount of money coming in, you start to have that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm working like full time in my business and I've been doing it every day, all day long, and I'm not seeing results. When in actuality, if you break it down, you're really only spending about 15 to 20 minutes doing money generating activities, and the rest of it is all waste where you could be doing other things. So it's really important to recognize that when it happens and really hone it down to exactly what we teach inside of the product, what's being taught by the mentors, the coaches, the training, all the actual money-generating activities, and focus on that dedicated 1 hour to 2 hours per day and make sure that you're doing the right things. So, to summarize the time-related stuff, we have people inside of this business, even inside of our team. We have single moms with 3 kids at home that are killing it in this business. One that I believe she's even on the call, Jen, has had, I think, a $12,000 month, a $7,000 day, right? So these kind of things are absolutely possible. Again, when we give income claims, we need to disclaim that. Of course, that took work and dedication. She's very dedicated to making this business work for her and does all the things that she's supposed to do to make that happen. And that can happen for anybody who follows that and actually takes those kind of actions. On top of that, we've got people who actually work 2 full-time jobs who are killing it in this business, right? So if somebody is saying, hey, I work 8 hours a day at my job and I get home and I'm kind of tired and I just want to watch some TV, that's not a time-related issue. That's a mindset issue. They need to work on their reason why they really want to succeed here and really get clear on what they're getting out of it and why they want to change their life, because then they will carve out that time. The time is there, right? Everybody's got the same amount of time in a day. It's just a matter of prioritizing it and saying, I'm going to actually carve out some time and do it. We have people that actually, are super busy all throughout the day who manage to carve out a couple of hours after the kids go to bed, and then they end up going to bed about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then, that's the sacrifice they've been willing to make to achieve what they want. But it's possible for anybody who's dedicated to that.
Well, and then there's the point at which you need to get out from behind your computer, right? You need to see life and go, well, we love the coffee shop, don't we? Go to the coffee shop, go to the playground, do whatever, snap some photos of your life and where you're at and who you're with your kids and post it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Well,
and the underlying thing with that is, keep in mind, this is a freedom business. So if you're sitting at your computer for 8 to 10 hours a day doing this business, you need to take a back step and evaluate the actions that you're taking, because you're probably doing a whole lot of stuff that you shouldn't be doing, and that's not attractive. And people who look at that and say, that person's sitting at their computer for 8 to 10 hours a day grinding, that's not going to attract people to what you're doing. So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we killed it.
Yeah, we killed the time thing. Let's move on to financial related, right? This is one of my favorite topics when people say, I don't have the money, right? I can't afford it. I don't have the money. When it comes to the financial thing, this is like a huge, huge excuse. And I know sometimes people get offended when we say, They say, I truly have no money, I have no resources, I can't do this. But here's the reality of it, is that it doesn't matter if you're broke, right? There's lots of broke people who are now very successful in online business. They're including ourselves, right? And again, we talk from experience. We've been broker than broke, sunk in the debt hole beyond belief, and clinging to the edge, trying to keep from getting sucked into bankruptcy and all kinds of problems, and still managed to build a very successful business in a very short period of time, because we understood that money is just energy, right? Money is abundant. It's everywhere. It's just a matter of getting in the flow of it. And so I think the underlying issue with a lot of people who are stuck in that, I don't have the money or I can't afford it, they're not looking beyond their bank account, right? They look at their bank account statement and there's no money there. There's $100 balance, and maybe they have a credit card that's maxed out and they're like, I don't have any money. And the buck stops there literally because they've literally shut their mind off with that thinking, and they don't go beyond that. And then they think, well, I'm going to start my business with, $30, and I better make my money back in 30 days so I can pay my credit card bill or I'm out.
Bad mindset.
And that will never work, ever. If that's the way that you're going to continue to think, you may as well just cancel everything right now and go do something else, right?
So
go get a job.
Let's get ahead of the mindset, right? That can be changed. Your belief is only a thought you keep thinking. So let's change those thoughts and create new beliefs that money is abundant and you deserve it. Maybe there's some, you got to dig in and figure out where the root of that is. That person didn't sign up with me. It signed up with someone else. Oh man, I lost it. There's only so many people. No, there's more people that are going to come along at the right time, the right moment, and join your business because they're attracted to you.
Absolutely. So when it comes to the financial side of it, it's really just a matter of truly tapping into all the resources that you have at your disposal. And it might mean that you need to go beyond your own bank account, your own credit cards, and so forth. You might need to look at loans. You might need to contact friends or family members that have the ability to loan you money. Now, don't go to them and just say, I want the money, right? You need to actually put together a plan and say, this is what I'm going to do with it. And here's how I've mapped out exactly how I'm going to recoup those funds in, X amount of months. And this is the business model that I'm using it on. Be responsible about it when you go to them and be absolutely dedicated. And, here's the thing. When you make a financial commitment and you borrow money and you have a solid plan of what you're going to do with it, there's no turning back, right? It's kind of that putting skin in the game magic that happens. And you guys will notice that everybody you look at who is really successful in business of any kind made a substantial investment. They were absolutely dedicated to their business. They made the investment usually, almost always, up front, right? So it wasn't, I'm going to put a few pennies in today and maybe next month if I make some money I can add a few more pennies. It doesn't really work that way. Nobody really succeeds well in business with that mindset. It's full on, I'm going to get everything I need to excel in this business. And real quick, I want to share a more personal story. It's actually Natasha's example when it comes to this, because it's something that relates directly to the whole financial thing. Some of you guys know that Natasha is a real estate agent and has been for how many years now?
Just over 5 years.
5 years, right? And when she got started, there were a number of other people that we knew that also got started in real estate. And after about 6 months to a year of Natasha being in the real estate business, she was crushing it, right? I mean, really crushing it. On an average, how many millions in sales do you do in a year?
Well, on average, 10 million.
10 million. Okay, $10 million in real estate sales in a year, right? Which is a massive, that's crushing it. That puts you in like the upper 2% of real estate agents. And people are always coming to us and saying, how did you do that? How did you do that? I'm out talking to my friends and family, and I get like one deal every 4 months, right? And they're still working a full-time job, being a part-time agent, and eking along, and they cannot figure out how it is that somebody like Natasha just crushed it starting in the first year and continued to crush it moving forward. And here's the secret, right? And this secret can be applied to absolutely any business, and it directly relates to this financial excuse thing. What Natasha did was
Oh, you put me on the spot. What?
advertise.
I did advertise. But here's the thing. I never had any doubt that I couldn't do it. I always said, wow, my good friend, she could do it. And this person did it. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm going to do this. One way or another, I'm going to do it. I had some ups and downs.
Yeah, sure.
I went up and did really good, and then I had some downs, and then I pulled out of that.
Right. But the core of it was that she started off getting fully set up to have a big business, right? So what does that mean? In the real estate example, it means she bought the signs that she needed. She made the investment and the commitment. See, imagine this, right? Imagine buying 5 real estate lock boxes before you even have your first listing.
Right.
Right? A lot of people would look at that and go, well, that's stupid. Those boxes are like, what, $100 or something?
Mm-hmm. I did thousands of dollars of advertising every month.
Right.
And most people have such a hard time pulling the trigger on that.
Right. So thousands of dollars in advertising each month and buying lock boxes before you had listings, all these things. People were like, why would you buy 5 lock boxes when you only have 1 listing or have no listings? Well, the answer is ridiculously simple, right? The answer is, well, because I fully intend to have 5 listings. And when I have 5 listings at once, I want to have a lockbox for every one of those doors.
Right.
And what happened as a result of that was that she ended up having all of those listings and having all of those sales. And by understanding business and being fully committed up front and not afraid to spend money, invest money in your business and in your own success, she was able to catapult her success so far beyond everybody else we know that started at literally the same time that most of them have fizzled out and aren't even in the business anymore, right? And so that directly relates to the business here with Digital Altitude, because I run my Digital Altitude business exactly the same way. I didn't have the money when I started in online marketing. What did I do? I tapped into resources. I sold stuff that I didn't need
I love
or
that
could do
one,
without.
by the way. So many people have things in their homes that they're not using and they could sell.
Yep.
And they don't even think about that part of it.
Exactly. Exactly. We sold all kinds of stuff, even a TV, a big screen TV. We're like, we don't need this. Let's cancel the cable. Let's sell the TV. Let's get rid of like 2 or 3 bicycles that people aren't riding that are too small now for our kids. You know, kid toys, clothes, all kinds of stuff. We just unloaded stuff and raised capital. We went into capital raising mode to invest into my Digital Altitude, or at the time it was a different online business, but it's the same concept, right? And once I did that, I had the funds. I even borrowed some funds from a family member to make up the difference. I maxed out a credit card, and I never thought twice about doing that because I did away with the fear that most people have, right? Those fears that catch us up, the fear of what happens if I spend $20,000, $30,000 on a credit card and I can't pay it back because I didn't make any money, right? I didn't have that because I never thought for once that I wasn't going to follow through and make it happen. And if you have those doubts about whether or not the business works, those are completely unfounded, because you can see literally hundreds of examples of people just like you that have completely crushed it in this business, right? And if you look around, and you can even find 4 people or even 3 people that have done something, you can do it because it's already been proven.
Absolutely.
Right? The really tough thing is when you're doing something that nobody ever has done before.
Yeah.
Right? That's tough, and the fear is justified there, right? But if you see other people have done it, why would you ever think for a second, oh, I don't know if this is going to work, right?
And then they instantly call it a scam, you know.
Right, of course.
Like, oh, yeah. They're just scamming themselves.
Right. So bottom line with financial excuses, they are nothing more than excuses. The money is out there. The money is out there. It's got your name on it. You just have to claim it. You have to go out there and tap into the resources, get creative, and get determined to come up with those funds. That's all there really is to it. Get in the flow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's move on to number 3, the physical related excuses. Okay, another one that is something that I don't talk about a whole lot, but...
And before we start that, but let's talk about first, it's how people label themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're meaning in physical. I can't even... We've been in network marketing and personal businesses and everything, and sometimes I get somebody on the phone and they tell me the very first thing, well, I'm disabled. And it's like trying to tell me immediately that all of a sudden I can't do something. And I'm like, I don't really care.
It's like having a big sticker on your forehead that says, I'm disabled, so don't expect anything of me. Right? It's a label. It's a label that does not serve you.
Because that's not who you are.
It could be, I'm disabled. It could be, I have cancer. It could be, I have, some type of disease or physical ailment.
Mm-hmm.
And not to downplay those things, right? It's all about your self-image and what that's doing to you and your mental condition when it comes to you being able to attain success. And this is a really, really important one because it comes up a lot. I mean, I'm always amazed how many people will start a sentence like that with that exact phrase. I'm disabled, so
I can't do that.
I'm not going to be able to do that. Or, it either is like something that will preface, I'm disabled, so I don't have any money. I'm disabled, so I can't work a regular job. I'm disabled. It's always a reason why they can't do something or that you shouldn't expect something of them. And it's always something I call people out on. And again, this is one of those maybe controversial things for some people, but I don't allow myself to, or I don't take that kind of BS from myself, and I don't take it from anyone else either. And I feel like I'm not doing somebody a favor by accommodating that when they say it. So if somebody says that to me, I always call it out. And I want to share a close personal story to just kind of reiterate this, because no matter how, what kind of disease or ailment or disabled issue somebody might have, it is not something that is going to prevent them from getting what they want, from achieving what they want to achieve. It's just not. In December, actually the day before New Year's Eve, 2015, I was rushed to the hospital for an emergency back surgery. And what had happened was that, unbeknownst to me, I had a cancer tumor develop in my T11 vertebrae. My vertebrae completely collapsed while I was in bed that night, and I could not physically get out of bed. They had to bring the fire department in and take me down the stairs in some kind of crazy rolling chair thing.
Yeah.
Totally drugged up. My back was spasming. I was in a massive level of pain. That vertebrae had crushed and pinched my spinal cord. And so when we got to the hospital, they were running all kinds of scans and telling me that I might not walk again, that I was going to need emergency surgery. Went through a 6-hour emergency surgery that night and woke up, came conscious again the next day in the hospital. Yeah, I guess it was the next day,
right?
Yeah,
but they had to move you to a different hospital too, yeah.
Right. And in the course of that surgery, in the course of doing those scans, I was diagnosed with a form of bone cancer. So when I say these things about labels and physical things, and when I tell people and call people out on stuff when they tell me, I can't do it because I'm not feeling well or I've twisted my ankle or whatever, I'm speaking from experience with this. And that entire year of 2016, I went through chemotherapy, I went through radiation, I was hospitalized for an additional 24 days that July for a stem cell transplant. I wore a back brace for the first 6 weeks or something that was this horrible, restrictive thing that I could barely sit down and move around in. And most people had no idea this was even happening. And on top of that, that year, 2016, I still managed to make over 6 figures in my online business, right? So how did I do that? It was actually very simple. It's not that I wasn't dealing with a lot of crap at the time, and we had some massive stuff going on.
Doctor's appointments were like 4 times a week.
4 times a week at doctor's appointments that I had to commute to, having scans, doing all these therapy sessions, all these things. So my time got completely eaten up, but I still managed to figure out a way to build my business, right? I learned how to get really good using my mobile phone so that I was actually building my business while I was sitting in a chemo chair in the hospital. And again, I never was that person that was posting stuff all over Facebook about, woe is me, here I am, I've got cancer, all of this stuff, because that didn't serve me, right? That was not my label. My label was successful online business owner, right? Successful entrepreneur. That's my label, and that's who I am. And so I did not let any of these physical things stop me from being that person. And no matter what you're going through, it may be worse or not as bad as what I went through, but you don't have to let that stop you from becoming successful. It's not a limitation for you at all, right? You can always overcome it, but you have to recognize that first and understand that this is not my label. Who do I really want to be? And then be that person no matter what's going on in your life. Anything to add to that?
No.
Okay.
Nothing there.
All right. So And since then, just if anybody's curious, I'm doing well, as you probably see if you see me on Facebook and all of that. I'm doing all the crazy stuff that I always was before, right?
Yeah.
I did have to learn to walk again that January, but since then I'm now using my one wheel. I'm riding my mountain bike. We snowboard, all that stuff.
And we don't give it energy.
We're
not sitting here talking about it. In fact, we almost never talk about it.
Well, I only bring it up as an example that shows people that, you can still accomplish what you want to accomplish even when you're dealing with some very horrible stuff, right? Because everybody has horrible stuff they deal with in their life. That's life. But it doesn't have to limit you, and it also doesn't need to be thrown out all over social media when it's happening, because when you do that, you're just attracting more of that same kind of energy back into itself, and it doesn't serve you. So that's why I don't really talk about it much, out there. It's not really who I identify with. So.
Great. He'd much rather sit around talking about business and how we can make more money.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's where I lie, right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so let's move on to number 4, the skills-related excuse, right? We all hear this all the time. I can't do that because I'm not technical, or I don't know how to do Facebook, or I don't know how to set up my autoresponder. I don't know how to write an email broadcast message, right?
So I'm laughing because our 11-year-old son asks me this stuff all the time. Mom, what's this? Mom, do you know the answer to this? And I look at him and I say, did you Google it? And he looks at me and he goes, oh, I didn't Google it. It's just a constant reminder here at this house.
There's this little shift in your mind that if you can make this shift, it will change everything for you. And it's the shift of stop asking yourself or telling yourself that you can't do stuff, and instead shift that to how can I, right? And all the resources are right there in front of us. I mean, we live in an age now where literally at your fingertips, whether you're using your mobile phone or your computer, you can click a couple of mouse clicks or type in a couple of words and get the answer or an example or even a video tutorial for literally anything you possibly want to do in your entire life.
My favorite is the one when I Googled it and I came up with your video.
Right.
And it was like, hey, John, how do I do this? And he was busy or something, and I'm like, okay, I'll just Google it. And there popped up your YouTube video.
which I'll quickly add, that is a tremendous marketing strategy right there, guys, right? Figure out stuff that you don't know how to do, shoot a quick video, show people how to do it, right? I mean, it's super easy, right? You just learn yourself and then teach others, and then that becomes an actual marketing resource for you down the road. Anyway, I don't want to diverge too much from our topic. So, obviously the thing is, in this day and age, skills are easy to come by, right? And when it comes to building an online business, in the digital altitude community and the digital altitude products, every single thing you ever need to learn or be able to do is shown to you right in front of you on a screen, step by step. So you never have to be, in the dark on how to do something. It's all right there. And if it's not covered in a product or inside of the community, you can easily find it by just speaking with the other leaders in your group, or, Googling it, or going to YouTube and finding videos about it. It's super, super easy to build the skill set necessary, but you have to snap out of that I don't know how locked in mindset.
And if you're watching a video and you don't get it, press pause or go back and watch it a second time. Right? This drives John nuts. I just know it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of video. You can watch it 2 or 3 times until you actually get it, and then you're building your skill.
And seriously, guys, there's no shame in watching a tutorial video 15 times, right? I mean, I've done it myself, and I'm somebody who likes the technical stuff, but there has been times where I'm learning how to do something, and I have to stop it, rewind it, watch it again, watch it again. It's not a problem. That's the beauty of having it on video. And, in this business, in the digital altitude business, sometimes people will contact me or a team member or somebody, and they're like, hey, I watched the video, but couldn't you just walk me through it on the phone or on a video? And I have to remind them that that's what the video does, right? In some cases, these are videos I actually recorded myself that they're watching. And it's like, why would you want me to get on the phone with you and walk you through it when you have access to a video where I'm actually walking you through it? that you can watch as many times as you want, stop, pause, and so forth, and you're not wasting my time.
Then you have to remind them that this is a time freedom business that we're building here. And maybe some of you who are listening to the call should think about that. Like, if you're grinding all day and you're not having any time freedom, what are you doing?
Yep.
We every day try to do something fun, right? There has to be some happiness every day. Well, we usually go to the coffee shop. That's what we do. We go on a walk because we like to walk and talk. That's just what we do.
Yep.
And we love to do that in other places around the world too. But whether, whatever, if you just need to put some kind of happiness in your day every day.
Even if you, and when it comes to the skills thing, even if you have to get up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror every day and say like 3 times, or maybe it takes you a dozen times, I can learn and build any skill I want. I can learn and build any skill I want, right? Sometimes you got to kind of program that in to remind yourself, because everything is right in front of you, especially in this business. So nobody should ever have the excuse of, I can't do this because I don't know how, because that's what the entire business model is centered around, is teaching you how. So I think that's good with skills.
Yeah, I really like the I am statements, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am good at this. I am a
in
great online marketer.
In the present moment. Present tense.
Yes.
I am good at this. I am learning to do this.
As if it's already happened, and those affirmations will build that proper energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move to number 5, the final excuse, and that is the support/help related thing. And what we mean by this is when somebody has it in their mind that I can't do this because nobody will help me, or I've failed too many times in the past because I didn't have support, right? This is one of those things that, again, kind of goes back to the skills related thing. It's very closely related to that one.
It is, yeah.
Let me make this statement. Even though there is tons of help and support inside of this business, inside of this community, you don't need anyone's help, right?
You need the confidence.
You don't. You don't need anyone's help because it's all right in front of you. Now, that being said, there is tons of support and help that you can take advantage of. In fact, even getting on this call right now, if you're listening to this, or maybe you're listening to the recording, this is a huge step. This is a support mechanism inside of this business, inside of this community that's here to help you, because you're hearing things and learning things and getting different perspectives on things that will help you move forward. But when it comes to like direct support, hand holding, all of those kind of things, beyond getting started with your personal coach, you don't need somebody to hold your hand in this business, right? Or really in any business, because part of being an entrepreneur is taking ownership and recognizing that you are the business owner. Your business starts and ends with you. You're the person who's responsible for making sure you do the things you need to do. And when you get the success, you're the person who gets all the credit for it, right? That's the benefit of being an entrepreneur. Anything else to add on that?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, so just to kind of summarize that stuff, again, all 5 of these reasons or excuses, overcoming those will be largely dependent on you getting very, very clear on why you're here. What is it that you want out of an online business? What kind of success are you looking to achieve, and what is it going to really do for you? Just having a monetary goal is not enough. If you're just somebody who's sitting, I just want to make some extra money, you're probably going to quit somewhere down the road. You're going to get frustrated and you're going to quit, because just wanting to make a little extra money is not a strong enough reason to learn the things that you really need to learn, go through the mindset shifts that are going to be imperative for you to learn to get to where you want to go, right? It's not enough of a reason. So you need to drill deeper with that. Why do you want to make some extra money? What's the real reason, right? Is it because you want to spend more time with your kids? Is it because, your husband's going to work all day and you never see him and he never gets to see the kids? Or, you want to bring your wife home from her job so that you can actually start doing things as a family unit and actually enjoy life? Are you wanting to take more vacations or travel? And then once you identify what those things are, drill into that. What is that going to feel like to experience that? How is that going to feel for you, your spouse, your kids, all to be on a beach in another country, relaxing and not worried about money, and actually having a business that is making more money than you're spending on the vacation while you're laying on the beach?
Our
right?
business always does well when we're on vacation.
Absolutely, and I'll share that with you guys, right? When you get to that point where you're enjoying the actual life beginning to really enjoy that life that you created, everything becomes super easy. It just flows like crazy, and it's because you become completely congruent with that energy.
And it's completely true that it's harder to make $5,000 a month than it is to make $20,000 a month.
Yeah, that first 5,000 or so, and really, and that's the advantage we have with the digital altitude business, which you guys I'm sure are familiar with, is that it takes the same amount of effort to make $5,000 a month as it does to make $50,000 or $100,000 a month, right? It's the same energy, it's the same amount of physical work that you're going to be doing, the same steps. It's just a matter of getting positioned and doing it long enough to build that up and getting your mindset straight around all these things that we've talked about. So like, just to repeat what John had said in the beginning, you can choose to be successful or you can choose to make excuses, but you cannot do both.
And the one that I constantly say here at our house, when we're talking to our son, is if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And your decision, right? So you have to decide what side of it are you going to fall upon, right?
Yep, absolutely. So with that, we'll kick it back over to you, John.
Guys, that was great. John, Natasha, what an empowering call. Hey, guys, give John and Natasha some love in the chat roll. What a great topic. You know, we have quite often, I've witnessed, because I've been around this industry for as long as I have, I've witnessed people who have had to really confront this stuff that you guys are talking about. You hit a few nerves here tonight. I'm sure you know that. And, of course, one of them, which I hear because I witness this all the time, is where people identify as, disabled or, whatever their story is about, where they're at in life, or like that's their identity. But we can't be identified with or as these conditions, right? Because if you think about it, and everybody consider this for a minute. I know we've talked about this on these calls before. The idea of causation. So who is in control? Is it your circumstances? Is that what's in control? The money, the time thing, right? Or is it what you do or do not know right now? I mean, the whole point of you being here is that you get to learn some stuff so you're more able to accept the responsibility necessary to have the control and freedom that you want in your life. These things are inextricably woven together, right? You don't get control and freedom in your life without being responsible for those things, and you can't be responsible for those things if you don't know what they are. So this is all powerful stuff. This is all about rehabilitating cause, right? Which is you. But again, like I kind of alluded to right at the beginning, if we're just expecting life to give us our bottle of milk or something, and woe is me, because like you guys wrapped up with support, which I saw one of your team members, Jen, had indicated in the chat roll that, we got more support than you can even utilize, which I have to agree with. I mean, guys, when I got started in this industry back in 2002 was when I first started becoming successful in direct sales, after multiple business failures, by the way, so it wasn't like my first rodeo. But when I finally found this, a way to really get paid what I thought I was worth and not just what a job is worth, or, struggling 70 hours a week in a business that was, barely paying my bills, I just grabbed on, and I had to figure some stuff out. Go ahead and jump on, dictionary.com, or Google was pretty new back then. YouTube didn't exist. Let's see, grab a dictionary, start looking up words, figure out what I got to figure out, right? Because it's like learning a new language. But think about that, everybody. If let's say we didn't know the language, we want to do business in, let's say India, right? I want to do business in India, and I get that a lot of people speak English in India, but let's say that I want to, do business in Hindi, right? Well, I'm going to learn Hindi, right? I'm going to take that responsibility and learn Hindi so I can, mingle with the, the Indian language and everything. And you know what? Out of necessity, here's the thing, out of necessity, and I'm so glad that you guys ended with the whole why thing, because when our necessity level is high enough, then, we start to abandon some of our comfort zone. And, now that our standards have been raised, well, now, yeah, I'm going to be willing to do whatever it takes. And that typically happens, when somebody commits themselves beyond logic Okay, now I'm not going to get into a full philosophical discussion about this right now, but people can get started in all kinds of stuff. There's a million things you can go do, right? Go throw a couple $1,000s on the table, join an MLM deal. My last MLM deal was $5,000 to get started, and you get one of each product and all this, and I did what I could with it, and but people walk from that. But when you're committed beyond, it's like the Hernando Cortez thing, burning the boats, right? We're here to take the Aztec gold, and so burn the boats, and if we go home, we're going to go home in their boats. Otherwise, we'll die here, right? So we're going to get the gold, or we're going to die. That's it. Right?
Yep.
So, yay. Now, he wasn't a nice guy, per se, but you think about the resolve. Another not so nice guy, so here I am quoting these villains, Napoleon Bonaparte. He said, I see only my objective, the obstacle must give way. Okay, so now what? Oh, you lack skills? Oh, come on. Really? Or you've got some considerations about you're busy or something. Really, you're busy. Well, you know what? We're all going to grow old. Why not reach goals in the meantime, right? I mean, you're going to be a year older next year, right? I mean, one way or another, you could either reach the goals or you could not reach the goals. You could be just as without skill as you are now, or you could have some skill. Choose. It sounds too simple. However, it's a very seductive, right, to be in the familiar, zone of not knowing this, or perhaps, dare I say, victimhood, right? Because there's a lot of social agreement in victimhood, right? We get to be really social with that. Yeah, I'm a victim, you're a victim. Oh, you got it bad. Oh, you should hear about how bad I got it, right? So it's almost like a victimhood contest online sometimes. So you got to be careful with that. But the last part where you guys are talking about the goal as a way to overcome excuses reminded me of a story actually from the Bible, the story of David and Goliath. Are you guys familiar with the David and Goliath story?
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people have heard of it, right? So here's this big, Goliath guy, and there's this little guy, David, and he kills Goliath. But the part of the story that a lot of people are not as familiar with is that the reward for killing Goliath was you get to marry the princess and you live tax-free for the rest of your life. And while all the other soldiers were standing around with their excuses, oh, Goliath, he's invincible, oh, I don't know, I mean, we're scared, David was like, what's the prize again? Oh, I get the princess? Tax-free life? Oh, tell me about that prize again, right? And he picked up a rock and killed the guy. I mean, so there you go, right? There were certainly more able people in that crowd than this guy David, okay? So, but necessity level, raising our standards, and not accepting our own excuses. This was a brilliant talk tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Natasha, John, thank you for sharing this. And Natasha, I didn't know you were in real estate. That's fabulous. So $10 million a year. Spectacular. Good stuff. So you see that, guys? Successful on multiple fronts, not just here in online direct sales, okay, but also in the world of real estate. So as I've said before, more important than what we do is who is doing it. Who is doing it? Do you have any doubt in your mind that John and Natasha could be successful in something totally different? Of course they could. Of course they choose to be here because nothing pays as good as this, and it's very purposeful, right? We get to do this sort of thing, right? We get to empower others. We can go anywhere and make money. And I'm saying that to everyone here. Any of you could go anywhere and make money. You could. You'd be here. You're here by choice, though. Right? So consider that. Now let's make that choice right. Okay? We've made a decision. Now let's make that decision right. Okay? And I hope you're picking up what we're laying down here. So John, Natasha, we're going to go ahead and open it up for questions and comments. We've got a small group on the live sessions, and we've got many, many people that listen on the podcast. So for those of you who have joined us live, this is one of the benefits of joining us live, is you get to participate with our co-hosts. And so we would like to keep it on topic, though, so we can't solve your tech support questions, right? There is a support department of people who do that stuff, and that's not us, okay? But if you'd like to talk about overcoming excuses, or maybe come clean, maybe this is like a big moment for you. You're going to come out and expose yourself and let the lie die in the light of exposure. I've been pathetic, and here's why, and now no more. I don't know. Maybe we could pass an offering basket or something. This will be this will be cool. So here we go. All right. So the lines are open. If you are on the live broadcast, you can click *6 on your phone or Skype to raise your hand, or if you're on the application, you can click the raise your hand button, and we do have our first caller in queue, and he vanished. Look at that. There's how that goes. So while we're waiting for our participants to raise their hand, John, Natasha, anything else you'd like to say here while we're waiting?
No, I think we covered everything we wanted to.
Yeah.
You got anything to add?
No, I haven't thought about what to add.
Okay, well, good. Just figured I'd take up some dead air. We do have a caller. We have a couple callers in queue. Here we go.
Cool.
And our first one is, I don't know, is this, who am I speaking with?
Stephanie.
Hey, Stephanie, you're live on the air.
Hey, I recently joined Digital Altitude. I'm in Rice, and I'm really, really excited about going further. But I have a very real worry. I'm working full-time, which is not the worry, but I do not literally have the money to upgrade, and I know how important it is to upgrade. So I know that you mentioned selling things, maxing out credit cards. What other advice do you have? Because I know I need to come up with the money for it.
Well, it's there's a ton of ways to raise capital. Selling stuff and getting loans are two of the kind of the ones on the forefront, right? Outside of that, it would be tapping into resources that maybe you haven't thought of, relatives or other people that that have the financial means and have the ability to potentially give you a personal loan in order to sort of fund that business. That's always an option. And then there's even other things such as going out and doing other things. I have somebody in my team actually that started about, I think, 4 or 5 months ago driving for Uber at night. She drives between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning and makes an extra, $300-400 a day. So that's another way. Doing other things that can raise some additional income or bring some additional capital into the household to help fund that business. There's a lot of things you can do. Actually, not too long ago, I wrote a blog post that had 27 ways to raise capital for your business. If that's something you'd want the link to, you could message me on Facebook, and I'd be happy to shoot you the link for that. It's not really it's not a promotional thing. It's really just an informational blog post that really just kind of shows some ways that people probably haven't thought of.
Okay, great. Yeah, I would love to take a look at the link.
Yeah, just message me and remind me who you are and how we're connected. I get tons and tons of messages and stuff, and most of them are kind of spammy, so I do ignore a lot of them. So be sure if you message me or connect with me on Facebook, you let me know who you are.
And the only thing that I can add to that is that what are you doing about your reading or your audio listening? Are you doing things to
Great idea.
To change mindsets and because the universe has this wonderful way of making things happen for you when you have that right mindset.
Well, actually, this is my first recorded call. I've been trying to make them, but I haven't made it yet until tonight. So I thought this one was actually recorded. I'm still learning how to navigate the system, but
It's actually live. We're hearing your voice right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Stephanie, do you have the ability to listen to audiobooks while you're doing other things throughout your day to sort of, multitask that time, leverage that time?
Definitely, yeah. So I live in New York, so I take the subway, and I can listen to all these calls on the subway. And I'm reading a 4-hour work week right now before I read the cash flow quadrant. So I know Tim Ferriss mentioned LibriVox, so I can download audiobooks there. Yeah.
So I have a suggestion for you, and really this is for everybody. There's a fantastic book, and it's available on Audible. So if you don't have Audible, definitely get an Audible account. The book is called "You Are a Badass at Making Money" by Jen Sincero.
I just finished her You Are a Badass book about a week or two ago.
Yeah. So
You're on your way then.
She's a fantastic author with taking topics like this and really, making them sort of storyatized and very entertaining, but with a really strong message. And honestly, I've been making this book suggestion ever since I read the book or listened to the book. And if I had the ability, I would literally strap down every new trial member of my digital altitude business and force them to listen to it.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for it. Amazing. Okay, so actually remind me your name so I can get the link from you on Facebook.
Yeah, it's John Oakes. It's Jon. Last name is Ochs. You can find me on Facebook if you just go to the Facebook search bar and type in JON.OCHS. It'll take you right to my profile.
Okay, amazing. Okay, thank you so much.
You bet.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Stephanie. And we're going to go on to our next caller, who is Tina Marie. Tina Marie, you're live on the air.
Hi, thank you. Great. This actually is a training I needed to have, so thank you so much for making it available. Yeah, mentor has also been doing the same thing, coaching this to me and telling me that I needed to change things. So you're just kind of hitting home. My question is that, and do you do anything to help you keep yourself motivated when you're, because everybody gets in a rut, and when you hit that spot and you start to see you're heading towards that direction, do you have anything particular that helps, that brings you, keeps you going, keeps you motivated, other than?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. I do a number of things, to really keep my mind right. Number one is physical activity. I work out 5 days a week. It really kind of helps me stay centered. Meditation is also a good thing, and meditation can be in a lot of forms. I don't necessarily like sit cross-legged in a room in silence when I meditate, but I can just meditate for minutes at a time, just focusing on my breathing, closing my eyes, and just kind of emptying my mind to sort of recenter and clear out any garbage that might happen. Because, everybody has bad days. Everybody has stuff that doesn't work right. Everybody deals with results that are not what they expected, and so when that kind of stuff happens, I just kind of get recentered. And another thing is, if you have a spouse that is supportive of what you're doing, that is a great place to really rely on a spouse for that support as well.
Or a friend.
Or a friend,
right?
Yeah, or a what do we call it? An accountability partner in this business. Sometimes people will find somebody else in the business that can kind of be that accountability partner for them, and that also goes beyond just accountability. They can be that person that's there for you when you have a bad day and can kind of share in that stuff. But be careful you don't go into that commiserating role, right? Because that's not going to be helpful. It's not going to serve you. But really just understand that those bad things pass, right? And that you just need to recenter and refocus on what you're going to do next to resolve it.
We usually go on a walk and change our environment.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. Get out from behind your computer. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That was what I was looking for, was things to get me out and away from where I'm getting stuck. So yeah, that's a good idea. Just to kind of get out, take a walk, maybe take the dog out and go walk.
Well, and what you don't underestimate how powerful that is too, because when you're out there and away from all that information coming at you, while you're on a walk, you can kind of put yourself in almost a meditative state where you can get, some information from, from above or from
a higher source,
or just, allow you to collect your thoughts, if you would.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Tina Marie. We're going to go on to our next caller, which is John. John Norwood, you're live on the air. John Norwood, you're live on the air. Okay, one more call for John. And John raised his hand twice. Let's try the other John. He's here twice. Okay, how about now? John Norwood, you're live on the air. And going once, going twice. You there, John? We got 3 Johns here talking at the same time. We got John Oakes, John Lavinia, and the one guy who I want to hear is John Norwood. Are you there? And he's not. That is the last person in queue, and John's mic is not working tonight. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up with that. Last call, John? No.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Okay. Thank you, John and Natasha. Great call. Look at that. We are right at the top of the hour. This is one for the record books here. We're going to listen to this on the podcast again and again. This was awesome. Thank you guys so much. And everybody give John and Natasha some love in the chat roll and on their Facebook and in the Digital Altitude group. Let people know to come to the Black Diamond. There's extra benefits for coming live. And, of course, if you're listening to this on our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, or Stitcher Radio On Demand, be sure to share this with your team members and especially brand new members, right? This is good stuff. So, John and Natasha, thanks again, my friends. Any closing comments from you?
No, I think we covered everything.
No, thanks for having us tonight.
Appreciate all you guys. You know, no matter what you're dealing with or what kind of challenges you have right now, just know that you can overcome them. You know, we're all very, very powerful beings and can overcome any kind of challenge that we're facing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Awesome stuff. Thanks again, guys. Of course, we'll be back here tomorrow on our wake-up call, 10 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. I'll see everybody there. In the meantime, have a great night. You absolutely deserve it, and bye for now.
Bye.